Hello everyone, Luke here, and yes, we're back. And obviously you know what's been going on in the world, and with all that chaos going on, it's been a bit difficult here in my house as well to actually do the reviews. I know that's not really a good enough excuse for you guys, but I just wanted to let you guys know that I've not been away. I've been doing other videos in the meantime, but they've been over on the Anime Burrito channel. As you know, I'm part of the Anime Burrito, and I've been doing a lot of tier lists on there. I've done I've done a Dr. Stone discussion, I've done main character and main villains list, and Peter Toy and Lewis were on that list, and I'm thankful that I was able to get Lewis into a good enough spot for me personally. Even though I would have liked him to be a little bit higher, I was able to convince the guys over at Kontrolled Khaos, which are the guys that I've been doing the videos with. Like I said, if you're not subscribed to them, go and check them out. Really good guys. I appreciate everything that they've done for me by doing these tier lists, and hopefully we'll be able to do more in the future. So that's kind of like the filler content that I'm doing before I actually have a chance to do these reviews. But I'm back now. I'm going to get hopefully through the next 3 chapters relatively easily. So let's just dive right into them. Alright, so this will be chapter 173, titled Prisoners. Now this is a reference to what Emma said at the end of chapter 172, when she reckoned that Peter Toy, the whole reason why he was doing what he was doing is because, again, he felt just as much them a prisoner of the demons as well. And she was like saying, how would it have been like if you were actually part of it, if you were actually one of us, Peter Toy? Now, what he does in these chapters, and this is something that I'm really thankful that the authors did, and it's something that even Furman, who's been the absolute basher of the Promised Neverland, and saying that Emma gets what she wants, she gets everything handed to her on a silver platter. Furman from Kontrolled Khaos, yeah, this is the one part of the story where it's like, yeah, that kind of goes against what she was saying. But anyway, the chapter opens with a cover page of if I can find it, of Peter and James Vitari, like the original William Minerva. And when we get to it, it's eerily similar here, which gives me another theory, but I don't think the series is actually going to go down that route now, because basically from what me and David have been saying, it's kind of like we've only got like about, I'd say at this point, 10-15 chapters left of the series at max, which, by the way, I'm still going to do the Dr. Stone reviews. That's not, we're in a big arc in Dr. Stone series at the moment, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to that when we actually get into those reviews. And also go and check out Spy X Family, Chainsaw Man, and Act Age. Basically, check out all of them because they're a really good series. Hopefully they'll be around for a really long time. But going back to Promised Neverland, we get a picture of Peter and James when they were actually in that like brotherly relationship here. I don't know if you can actually, if you can get to it. Yeah, you can see right there, they're enjoying each other's company, and James is reading to Peter, and he's basically showing a happier side to Peter and showing that he wasn't always like the kid he was, but something happens that actually does change their perspective of it. Alright, so it opens up with a flashback from Peter's perspective where James is actually the main runner of the farms and of the Retari clan, like he's the basically head honcho, and Peter's the one that actually looks up to him. So it's kind of like having that brother relationship where you actually have the brother who looks up to them. And Peter, we get a monologue. I think this is from Peter's perspective, where he's going, protect the world. That was the honourable, noble, and most important mission of the Retari clan for generations. To me, the clan was my pride, joy, and light, and the leader my older brother. Okay, so yeah, it is Peter saying this, and the leader, my older brother, was my biggest hero. And as we see Peter and James here, if you actually look, and if we can get, James right there, tell me he does not look eerily similar to Norman, the way Norman is now. Tell me I'm not wrong, and tell me that that's basically what's going on here. The fact that James looks eerily similar to Norman makes me think that, again, some of the members of the families that even though they were part of the Retari clan actually got stuck in the farms, basically as a way to say, like, yeah, in order to keep you from going against the status quo, we're going to put a lot of you in these positions, and see maybe a few generations of in these farms and being under this iron thumb may make your side of the family change your perspective on reality. Seriously, I cannot stress enough that that James looks eerily similar to Norman in that photo there. Or in that panel there. So Peter carries on and says, he was kind, smart, handsome, sincere and refined, and I respected him more than father, mother or any great person from any era or country. You see, Peter's saying country there, that is something that Red, and to an extent I can kind of see where he was coming from. Red from Control Chaos said that the biggest disappointment for him of the series was basically how they were setting up the whole world of the whole demon culture and the human world, and it actually never went anywhere. And yeah, I can kind of see where he's actually coming from in that regard. I'm sorry guys, when I'm pausing here, I'm trying to like control basically the burping. I'm sorry guys, but we're leaving that in. We are leaving that in. But no, Red does actually have a decent has a valid point here that the world builder was set up, but it never actually went anywhere, and I can kind of see where he's actually coming from this perspective. But anyway, Peter goes on and says, I loved him more than anything in the world. I believed that I was to support him for the rest of my life, and that I was born to do so. So basically, Peter was basically brainwashed into this mindset of the fact that this is your older brother, he's the leader of our clan, you've got to follow him and you've got to respect him no matter what. No matter what happens, you still got to respect him over, and eventually it will be your time to take the reins and control. And Peter was just like, yes, I'm going to do that because I love my brother, so I love my brother, he's my biggest hero. No matter nothing what he says or does that will make me change my mind against him. But unfortunately something does happen that we'll get into right now, which is James. It's just such a while since we've actually focused on James as a character himself, if ever we focus on him as an actual character himself. We see James looking over some files and everything, and he's completely horrified by what he's saying, by what he's seeing, and this actually gets Peter's attention. It's like, brother, and this is where we get Peter saying, if only he hadn't found that document, which basically explains what actually happened 1,000 years ago, how Julius betrayed his comrades to enter the promise. The children are descendants of his allies, not the rogues who were against peace and wanted to continue the war. Okay, so basically, not only was the demons like built on a lie, like the whole society built on a lie of the fact that this evil blood could like consume and destroy you, but on the other side there was like humans who were basically fed a lie. Basically the Rotari clan throughout the generations were fed a lie that these people that were sacrificed to become humans for the farm, they were basically traitors to our cause and basically wanting to continue the war, whereas we wanted peace, where in fact it was actually the opposite. It was actually Julius who betrayed the allies to basically maintain this promise, and this actually shook James to his core, because he found out that his whole life had been built on a lie, and he's protecting a lie basically, and that's what shakes into his core. And it's basically, he has the same revelation as Emma does, whereas Peter is similar to Ray in that he doesn't want to go against this, the status quo in the same way that James wants to go against the status quo of what they are now in this flashback. So as James is going over the documents, being horrified by what he's seeing, he goes on to say, and even the citizens who were left behind were turned into food. As we get more insight into Peter's mind as he goes, an old confession, a document that was hidden for several hundred years, the regrets of the first leader, Julius. It was the truth of how the clan came to be, the complete opposite of the heroic tale that we were taught. So again, like I said, they were taught that Julius was like this incredible, valuable hero that basically saved the world, entered the promise, and basically turned over the traitors that were basically continuing war, whereas they wanted peace. They were basically fed this lie again and again and again, in the same way that the demons were fed lies about the curse bone, about Musica and Songju, and their whole situation. And again, I love the parallels between the humans and the demons, and how there's like this grey area that's been going on since the beginning of this promise. Like there's been bad guys on all sides just as much as there's been good guys, and there's been lies on all sides. So it's basically showing that the demons and the humans, they're not so different from each other, and they're more similar than they would like to admit themselves. And carrying on, James is just showing just how resentful he is of finding this information, and he's like, how could he have done such a thing? Like basically saying how could Julius have done such a thing? How could he have betrayed his allies in order to save his own skin, when really he should have been fighting side by side with them? And this is where Peter says, my brother changed that day as James is trying to figure out how to protect the two worlds, but also the children. And Peter goes on to say hesitation and guilt aroused in him, but Peter didn't understand like what was actually going on here, like why he was feeling all of this guilt. In the same way that Emma feels the guilt for having found out about what actually happened to the farms in the first place and being powerless to do anything about it, unlike what she is right now. And as Peter reads over the documents, he actually has the opposite. Like I said, he actually has the opposite effect of what James actually happened here. Whereas James saw this as a horrific tragedy that's happened on everyone. Peter saw this as something that was like ingenious and magical, and he says he thought it was wonderful. Julius didn't do anything wrong. Like, he didn't see Julius as evil in the same way that some people don't see other dictators as evil. It's the age-old thing of like, somebody's good is another person's evil, and this is emphasized here where Peter's saying like Julius was a hero, he didn't do anything wrong, whereas Peter is saying Julius is a hero, he didn't do anything wrong, whereas James is saying like no, he is evil, he did something that was completely out of order and should never have come to pass. But Peter's not listening, and he's like, Julius didn't do anything wrong. That protects the world. He pushed aside personal feelings to save the world. It was a wise decision. He protected the world, even if it meant betraying his comrades. That's what makes him a hero. A clan that carries out a noble mission. This is wonderful. This is how it should be. So Peter is seeing this as like, this is a great thing. He betrayed. He sacrificed his people for the greater good of the entire world. But like I said, James is not seeing it that way. He should see it as a horrific act. And James even goes, a noble mission, I always thought that way too, but we were wrong. This is punishment as well as a curse, Peter. And this is, Peter gets shot to his core by his brother saying this. It's like, why? No, brother. And then this is where and then we cut to a few years later where we see actually, James actually leaving the clan himself. It's like he doesn't want anything to do with this anymore. Yeah, because he's leaving the clan, and we see images of the William Minerva. So this is where he basically becomes William Minerva, and he's leaving, and Peter's like saying, no, brother, stop, don't go, don't put this world in danger. You're wrong, our clan is correct. The children are necessary sacrifice for the world. And this is where Peter actually snapped, and it's kind of like this was the key to drifting them apart. And in terms of things that actually break up relations, that does actually make sense, because Peter is seeing this as like an incredible thing that happened and it was a necessary evil, whereas James is seeing like, no, this is horrible, nobody should have had to suffer through this. And it's kind of like that conflicting conflict where both of them are so short on their ideologies that they kind of like break each other apart. And I wonder what would have happened if this had actually continued with Emma, Ray and Norman, and how it would have been like a pretty neat parallel between them three, and how it sort of like tied back into James and Peter's relationship. So continuing on, as James leaves to become William Minerva, Peter is like, I have to stop him. What now? What do I do? What do I do? I retire. And he actually just snaps at this point, and he's like, my brother is a traitor, eliminate him. He's like, I don't care what my brother, he is a traitor to our cause, and he's a traitor to my ideology, so brother or no brother, he is still going down. And we see actually that James actually found Peter's body, and as he sees his brother lying there, we see like all the rage built up inside him and kind of drop it at his point, because he's like, oh my god, my brother's right here, and he's basically dead at this point. So Peter's like, what was he like at the end? And Peter's followers say he was smiling. He told us to tell you, I'm sorry. And then this is just actually it gets pretty emotional for a villain to actually show this level of emotion, especially someone as evil and horrific as Peter Atari. But I feel like even though he felt like his brother betrayed him, he never truly lost that brotherly love that he had for him, as it's demonstrated here. And he's like, brother, I promise I will carry out the mission for your sake, no matter how much it hurts, no matter how warped the world may be. And that's the end of the flashback. So in terms of like decent backstories, that actually works. The fact that we got to find out what James and Peter's relationship was like, and like what the cause was for them actually breaking up that brotherly relationship. And even though they did break up, they still viewed each other as brothers to the very end. But anyway, coming back to the present day, Emma's still going on, let's be free, as Peter's like, I was a burden, I was a prisoner all this time by the fate of being in this clan. No, it's a noble mission. We're an honourable clan. This mission isn't punishment, and is no way and in no way is it a curse. You and your descendants are caught in the will of destiny. No, I did the right thing, but it was a curse, punishment. I protected the mission and the world, even if it meant killing the brother I loved. What our clan did for thousands of years isn't meaningless. No, it's not a lie. And then we cut back again to another flashback where James is like, I'm sorry, Peter, to make you carry this burden. So again, I love the fact that, like Furman said on Controlled Chaos, the fact that even though Emma's saying, let's be free, Peter's like, me? Bound by chains? No, I am right. This is my destiny. It was my duty to protect this mission and this curse. And he's basically saying, yeah, I'm not like you, Emma. You're meat, and I don't want to lower myself to meat, so screw you. And this all culminates ahead in the final moments of the chapter. I believe we're on the final moments of the chapter, as Emma's like, let's change, let's end the 1,000 years of suffering. As Peter's like, was my brother fighting back against necessity? Did he want to be free? Did he want to free me? As Emma's like, let's live together, Peter Atari. And then we see Peter just smiling, but he's not and he's showing all different levels of like sorrow and anger and frustration. As Emma looks at him shocked, he goes on to say, you should just kill me, but you say you want to live together, fools. That's why you were meat to be eaten. And I love that. Again, I love that about, because even though I love Emma, I admit, she is so naive that it goes beyond foolishness and the foolishness of her thinking that she can save everyone. And Peter just throws a wrench in this matter. And I really wish Red was what was reading the series right now, so that he can actually see this moment. I even brought this up in the villains tier list, how how Peter just basically threw a wrench in Emma's ideology of wanting to save everyone and thinking that she can save everyone, and there doesn't have to be any more bloodshed. Peter goes on to say, actually, the demons aren't so bad. What they've been doing to you are things that humans have been doing to each other since long ago. And this shocks Emma to her core, because I don't think she actually even considered this, the fact that the humans could just be as deadly, if not even more dangerous than the demons themselves. Peter goes on to say, yes, even though humans don't eat humans, go wherever you want, do what you want, you kids win. But remember this one thing, the human world isn't any different. And I love the fact that they actually brought that out, because he's right. Even if they did go to the human world, it wouldn't be any different. There'll still be wars, violence, prejudice, wanting to suppress everyone, put them all in cages, basically compress everyone's life. So there really can't be any true freedom like Emma really wants. As Peter goes on to say, because there are a mirror of humanity, cold solid. You can press that onto my uncle. Okay, who is this uncle? Okay, I forgot about this part, but seriously, who is this uncle? Seriously, who is it? Who is this uncle? We need to find that out in the next few chapters. Before the end of the series, we need to find this out. Just throwing another bombshell in this. But anyway, continue on. Peter goes on to say, try if you can. I'm looking forward to seeing how far you can go in the human world, as he pulls out a knife and brings it up to his head. As Emma, Ray, and Julian and Oliver are looking on in shock, he's like, sorry, but I can't go with you kids. I'll enjoy the new world from the depths of hell. Farewell. And then he just slashes his throat as Emma's like, Peter! And that's where the chapter ends. And unlike Ray's fake out, this is actually a proper death. Yet I'm spoiling what happens that Peter actually dies. So again, I love that. I love the fact that Peter just basically was like, me? Go with you. Go with you and live free in the human world. What difference would that make? That's why you guys were bred to be meat. So basically you say, I am not going to lower myself to meat. So yeah, screw you, Emma. You can go and enjoy your world, but I'll be seeing it from the depths of hell. So he's basically saying, I'm a Atari through and through, and I don't care how much you're going to say. Nothing's going to change about that. So in terms of Peter as a villain, I feel like he wasn't as strong as Lewis, because at the end of the day, when he was back to a corner, he was still a whiny, petulant child. But I loved just like that last stick to Emma, because basically that messes up Emma's whole ideology, and it basically gives him a win over Emma. So he died so that because he didn't want to lower himself to Emma and think like, can I really be free? No, I can't be free. I chose this path. So yeah, screw you, Emma, and your ideology. So yeah, I love that about it. But for now, we're going to be moving on to chapter 174. Alright, so moving on to chapter 174, titled A New World Part 1. And you know that some shit is going to go down when it's like you have basically a title like A New World Part 1. This is basically, I feel like the author's saying, like, yes, we're in the final home stretch of the arc itself. But anyway, continuing on from the end of the last chapter, as Peter is reliving what Emma says, he goes, "Fools, a position in life isn't something one can easily throw away. I choose to die here." So again, it's like basically him saying, like, yeah, screw you, Emma, fuck you. This is my fuck you, Emma. This is my choice, and I'm gonna do it the way I want to do. And I apologise for that little bit of outburst there with my camera. Yeah, the focus, it coming in and out of focus. That's yeah, we're keeping that in. But anyway, yeah. So basically, Peter kills himself, and we see him just basically drifting away as he dies. As everyone is trying to save him, he opens his eyes and he's like, "Why are you trying to save me? Why do you at me look like that?" I feel like that's actually a typo from the actual translate. That's probably a translation error because I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, why do you at me? I feel like it's meant to be, why do you look at me like that? And as Emma is basically trying desperately to save him, even though it's completely foolish at this point, he goes into like a daze himself, as Emma's like saying, "If you were born in Gracefield, as could we have been friends?" As we see a younger Peter with Emma, and basically all of them as like what would have happened if Peter had actually been born in Gracefield, as we see them all trying to be friendly with him. But at the end of the day, Peter's just thinking of these things, and he's like, "Of course not, never, don't bother, I'm done. The new world you're about to create is too bright for me. And as we see him dying, we see the demon god basically from what I can tell is actually coming to like collect his soul, as he says, "I was able to enjoy this for longer than I expected. Well done for thousands of years." So to reiterate what I've just said, the demon god comes in. He's they're sort of like in this void of sorts, probably in the demon god's palace. As he goes over to Peter's basically soul, and just basically sucks it up. And he's the one that says, "I was able to enjoy this for longer than I expected. Well done for 1,000 years." So basically, this is the demon god's way of saying, like, the promise that was made 1,000 years ago, that has been completely shattered now, and now it's time to create this new promise that Emma and Ray and everyone is going to create with whatever the conditions were actually made. So again, I love the fact that the demon god is like the ultimate chaotic neutral. It's like, he's not on the demon side, he's not on the human side. It's basically whoever comes to him to make the promise and what conditions they're actually going to provide for him. So carrying on, as they foolishly attempted to revive Piratari, but eventually coming to the conclusion that he's actually dead and he's died and there's no coming back for this, we get the final flashback from Peter himself, which is, "The human world isn't any different. Try if you can." As we see them all crying over his body for some unknown reason, and I don't get why that's actually the case. But eventually Emma like breaks over that crying notion. It's like, right, we have to get serious now. Yeah, Peter's gone, and I may have been unable to see him, but set to save him. But right now we've got more important matters to actually attend to. As we see a voice going, "Watchers will find for sure." No, this is Emma like giving her resolve, like basically getting her resolve back after this like break of her ideology, and saying, "Watchers will find it for sure." So basically saying to Peter's lifeless body, or however more lifeless that it can actually be than it is at this moment, like, "No, you're wrong, and we're gonna prove that you are wrong, that the human world is actually different from the way we are right now." As we see Emma and the orphans and all Isabella and all the mamas all like standing on opposite sides of each other, as Emma goes, "A life where we can live happily with our family." As Isabella goes, "So Emma and all of you, what do you plan to do?" And Emma's like, "We're going to retreat for now. There's still the 2,000 Imperial soldiers, and we have other stuff we need to do." As Isabella's looking incredibly confused, before Emma goes on to say, but I'm glad because I was able to talk to you once we got to Gracefield House. Let's go to the human world. And this is Emma saying that to Isabella, and basically saying to her, like, "Look, I forgive you for what you've done. You've helped us out here, so you deserve to have a life just as much as we deserve to have a life. Emma carries on and says, once everything is over, you should come with us. As we get a flashback to when she was actually meeting with the demon god and saying, I want all the children to go to the human world. All means the children who grew up to. I think it's meant to be also, this means the children who grew up to, which includes Mama and all the other mothers and sisters and everyone that was basically made to be working slaves for these demons. Emma goes on to say, I've already made the promise with the demon god for it to be that way. Of course, that's only if you want to. Once everything is done and the promise is implemented, Mom, the sisters and the adults and other children of the other farms, we can all go to the human world. And one of the other mamas is like skeptical of this. She's like, you're going to forgive us after all we did? And they're kind of like feeling a little bit somber about it, because it's like, we did some pretty horrible things and now we're going to be forgiven just like that. And Isabella's not saying anything, but she eventually comes to the conclusion that she'll stay here and that she appreciates the offer, but before she can say it, Ray's like, get over it already. You were sick of this, right? If you have any regrets, take care of them in the human world. I'm glad I'm alive. It's because I'm alive that I can atone for my sins and clear my conscience. And yeah, that's actually true, because if he had died, he wouldn't have been able to atone for all the horrible things he did, which were pretty despicable. Just letting his family walk off like that and knowing everything that was going on and not being able to do anything to stop them. That's kind of the same boat that Isabella was in, of the fact that even though she didn't really want to do this, she was kind of forced her hand to do this. Otherwise, she would have been killed herself. So it's kind of like, she was looking out for herself, but at the same time she didn't want to look after herself, and she would have rather at some points died herself than let the kids actually be sacrificed in her place. Ray goes on to say, it's fine, no one will resent anyone, we will not hold grudges, so let's go, all of you, with us. And the other kids are like, yeah, let's go. Gilda's like, come on, Mom. And everyone's just like smiling at Isabella and like calling her Mom again, and this is where we get a flashback from the perspective of Isabella. She's thinking about all the times in Gracefield House that she brought up the kids by herself before she ever became grandmother. And she's like, I shouldn't have been so painful. You must have been shocked. You were betrayed by your mother in the most horrific way. Even now, you're all trembling. But why? How could you forgive me? I'm sorry. I've been sorry for so long. And I'm sorry, and thank you everyone. So yeah, she really wasn't a bad guy at the end of the day, even though she did some despicably horrible things, and I'm still going to call her out on that, the fact that she did all these horrible things. But at the end of the day, if she didn't do those horrible things, she would have been dead herself. So it's kind of like being forced of her hand to do the things that she clearly did not want to do. So after the emotional reunion from Isabella and the other kids, Emma's like, then it's settled just a little longer. Once we finish everything, we'll come back here. Until then, Gracefield will continue to operate, but we'll be waiting. No, Emma's saying until then, Gracefield will continue to be operating, but then Isabella cuts her off and says, but we'll be waiting. Don't worry, the demons and the Ratari clan servants don't know about our betrayal yet. We'll handle it. Leave Gracefield to us. We'll take care of Phil and the others. Yeah, Phil. Everyone does not trust Phil. Something's wrong with Phil. And we'll deal with the demons too. And this is where we get Emma thinking, I want to release all the children. I want to get rid of the farms and create a new world where no children are eaten. And it's like, oh, we're so close now. We can reach it. It's so close. But Isabella's warning her to be careful. And Emma's like, don't worry, we'll be back soon. We are going. And this is where we cut to Norman, who's like, Cecilo, we're going to evacuate. Is everything okay on that side? And Cecilo goes, boss, everything's fine. Or it was, but, well, I don't really understand. The Imperial soldiers are on the move. They're all leaving and heading towards the outer bridge. And this shocks Norman and Emma as we see the Imperial soldiers like just walking off somewhere. And Hayate is like, this is no good. Reinforcements, they're going to attack us. We should run. And he's just like panicking, like, we should run. They're going to attack us, we should run. And everyone's like, wait, look at this. Notice a message from the Imperial capital to all citizens, as Emma's looking on ominously, and that's where the chapter ends. So, not as good as the last chapter, but a fairly decent one. And we got a little bit of a cliffhanger for that chapter, which we're going to get into right now. So this will be chapter 175, titled if we can find it. And New World Part 2, which was obvious that was going to be the case since the last one was Part 1. It would have been pretty weird if it was just Part 1. But anyway, cutting back to the Imperial capital itself, this pretty much picks up right with the last one left off, where we had Emma and all the mamas and the children receiving that notice from a message from the Imperial capital, as we see Lewis addressing all the demon soldier citizens. That he's like, tell all citizens, the current administration has been diminished. The leaders, the vassal armies of the 5 regiment houses, and those meaning the 4, and those managing the 4 great farms shall be arrested immediately. I promise to disassemble the evil blood, to distribute the evil blood to all citizens, and promise that no one will suffer from hunger or degeneration ever again. As we see, all the demons are just like, yeah, Lewis, 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 Lewis. And again, I feel like he's doing this because of the fact that now that he has been brought back, and we actually do get in this chapter to see actually what actually happened when he was actually brought back. But I feel like he actually wants them to have, again, an equal playing field, because I feel like he knows that Emma has gotten stronger in the last 2 years and he will want a rematch with them, which that's the only reason why I can see why they actually brought him back to be, in my opinion, the final obstacle of the series itself. So whether or not we're going to get a fight with him, that remains to be seen at this point. And that's another thing about Lewis. The reason why he got as high as he did on the villain's tier list is because I argued for him to actually get that position, because he had, in the Goldie Pond arc, a better final battle than both Aizen and Yuha from Bleach, and they had to agree with me on that front. And it was true, because he did actually have a final battle, because those battles with Aizen and Yuha, they were completely rushed as crap, but Lewis, they actually took his time to establish how difficult he was to actually take down. And I did a whole video on the fight with Lewis. You can go and check that out. It's somewhere in my Promised Neverland discussion videos. But yeah, that's what I want to say. So I thank them for actually giving me the opportunity to have Lewis as high as he did. But moving back to the actual chapter itself, Lewis is like, and one more thing, we'll take this opportunity to abolish all farms. So again, I feel like he really has, as he's been underground for the last 2 years, like he's thought of Emma's ideology and thought like, maybe this is actually a chance, and maybe we can actually get back to the war that was happening 1,000 years ago, because that's probably the thing that he wants most for. But he wants it in a way, right? Well, even if we went back to war, we'd still be at a disadvantage, because we would still have to keep eating humans. But now that we don't have to keep eating humans, we will be able to again have an equal playing field and be able to be at war again with the humans. But we'll just have to wait and see on that front. So as Lewis reiterates this message, this completely shocks all the demons to actually listen to him. And it's like, what? Abolish the farms, all of them? But does that mean that we won't be able to eat humans anymore? And Lewis is like, exactly. As one demon's like, as all the demons are like just like thinking about this, like the muttering to themselves, like, what's going on here? Why is that? Like, what's happening? One demon actually brings up the obvious question, but why? As Lewis goes on to explain that this was decided in the promise 1,000 years ago, that we'll segregate our world and we won't hunt each other, but we continue to eat humans despite that. That is where everything got distorted. Farms shouldn't exist because of them. This regiment continued. They held control over you, but by how they distributed human meat, manipulating your lives and intelligence. So again, he's basically saying like the reason why we shouldn't have the farms is because it's basically a power struggle. It's like, if we still have the farms, you're still going to be subjugated to these rules and regulations and what meat you actually get and what meat you actually don't get. So would you rather have free range or meat that's actually controlled? And if I was in that position, I would like go for free range, because then I can get whatever I want in that case. And the demons actually agree. It's like, that's true. Before one demon says, hey, if we can have the evil blood, we don't need to eat humans. And one demon's like, yeah, we were afraid that we'd degenerate if we didn't eat humans until now, but if human meat, it's human meat if it were other meat. Yeah, I want to eat human meat special. If we allow the farms to exist, we may be able to eat human meat, but someone could use the farms to gain control again. So again, like I said, it's actually basically a power struggle. Like, even though we would have the farms and we would have the meat, there would still be somebody struggling to get power again. And the other dude's like, I don't want that, me neither. So again, the same, like, I would rather have free range of what I want to eat when I want to eat it, rather than being subjugated to all these rules and regulations. And they go on to say, it's more natural to have no farms. I guess it's okay, it's only human meat. As one demon's like, oh, damn it, like, he's actually, the demon's actually just like thinking about all these possibilities and all these outcomes. It's just like hurting his brain. It's like, oh, damn it. And Lewis goes on to say, we will finally be free. We won't repeat the same mistakes and tragedy ever again. And everyone's like, yes, Your Highness, let's rid of the farms. We don't need the farms. Let's change. And they're like, abolish the farms. Hooray for the new era. Long live King Louis. And Musica and Songju don't know exactly what to say at this point because, and again, I wouldn't know what to say at this point because it's like, this is like a different Lewis from what the one we saw in Goldie Pond. And again, I feel like it's changed because of the fight that he had with Emma, Ray, Hugo and Lucas and all of them like in Goldie Pond. And I feel like he's like, okay, they've probably changed and they've probably got stronger, so I have to get stronger myself. And again, another thing that I like about Lewis is that he very much reminds me of Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter. Like, I've just started getting into Hunter x Hunter and I've been enjoying it. I'm up to the Heaven's Arena arc, on the tail end of the Heaven's Arena arc by the looks of things. But I love the fact that Lewis is someone who's basically kind of like egging on the main character to get stronger, in the same way that Hisoka was always egging on Gon to get stronger during the Hunter exam arc and also during the Heaven's Arena arc. So yeah, I love the vibe that I get from Lewis and how it kind of reminds me of Hisoka. And again, the guys at Controlled Chaos, they agreed with that 100%. So yeah, Lewis, I love as a villain, and I love the fact that it's kind of like we're getting a different feel and different vibe to him, and I'm interested to see where we actually go from here. So as the demons are saying, long live King Louis, long live King Louis, he's like, no, I'm not going to become king, and this shocks everyone, including Sandra Musica. He's like, what? But Your Highness, and he's like, I'm part of the old system, I'm also guilty of looking the other way during the old administration region. And he's like, besides, and this is where we get the flashback from his perspective, where he's like, I died at that hunting ground, my core was destroyed, and before I'd revive, I had no idea that I also had a second core. I lost to humans, that's why I had to resolve to decay in an unknown village. So I love the fact that he kind of is like saying, like, I'm a new man because I died in Goldie Pond, I am not worthy to be king because I lost humans, so if I lose these humans, what good am I as a king to you lot? And I feel like he's gonna use Emma and Ray and possibly Norman and Isabella now as sort of like a final test to them to see if they truly are worthy of moving on to the human world. So again, I feel they wouldn't have brought Lewis back if they weren't gonna have a rematch with Emma. That's the thing I'm definitely 100% is the final obstacle of the series. So Lewis, after he revived himself, he basically restored himself to like decaying in an old village. But then when he heard the news of his sister passing away, he's like, maybe I can make some changes now. Maybe this can actually be a new start for me. He's like, I'm not worthy of becoming king. What the new world needs is a new monarchy. I believe Musica here is fit to be that monarchy. And yeah, who else would it have been? It couldn't have been Songju because he basically said screw it to the royal family. And it's like Musica, what is clearly the only option at this point, and they're like, Musica, what, me? Why? And somebody says, I agree that Musica is most worthy to rule, and I love that about it. It's like, again, Musica being like the female Jesus of the Promised Neverland, just like the symbolism here. You're going to be king of the demons, just like Jesus was king of the Jews, and she has a special blood, like, take this because it's the blood of my body and you can do miracles with this blood. Do this in memory of me. Like, when we get to the female tier list, Musica is on there, and I'm actually going to bring this up a lot, that Musica is female Jesus. As the person says that they believe Musica is the most worthy to rule, we see that it's the demon that Songju and Musica actually revived before this whole shit with the curse blood and everything went down. And he's like, Your Excellency, you're safe. And he goes on to say, Musica has always acted selflessly for the citizens, saving them many times. She's the most deserving. The Temple and Songju will do our best to support you. You'll become the new Queen, Musica. Be our Queen. And everyone agrees with this, like, immediately. Like, again, this is what I hate about the demons a lot. It's like, they're just, like, so divisive. Like, kill that curse blood, kill that curse blood. Oh, they're not curse blood. Yeah, they'll be our Queen, they'll be our Queen, they'll be our Queen. Like, they're the most easily manipulated crowd in the world. It's like, yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a writing issue. Like, they're just so easily manipulated. Like, they'll turn on their rulers and they'll get people executed, but then they'll make those rulers that make those people that were meant to be executed their queen. Yeah, so make up your mind, you demons. But yeah, they go on to say, that's right, they'll truly make it a new era. As the priest, the demon priest, like, wait, nothing will change like that. Was only the Demon Queen to blame? Is the previous ruler the only one accountable? No, you citizens were responsible for letting her rule. I love that, right? Like as they were changing and changing their minds about Musica, like from going like she's cursed blood, we need to execute, like being our queen. The high priest is like, no, because you let this go on just as much as everyone else, and he's like, you let everything to the queen. That's how they manipulate you. Just as even now, moments ago, you. Just moments ago, now you were chanting, kill the evil blood. Okay, that was something I didn't expect. I didn't expect them to actually bring that up in the same page of the fact that the demons were actually being so easily manipulated, and the priest was like, no, you are to blame because moments ago you were trying to kill the evil blood. I just love that. Not only the ruler, but all citizens must think and act. The new world will be created and protected by everyone. As the two demon kids that were actually saved by those demon soldiers are like, everyone will create and protect. We will with our own hands. And they're like, we will support you too, Your Majesty. Yes, Your Majesty. Queen Musica. And Musica, I'm getting insight into Musica's mind about what's actually going on here and how she's pretty much thinking the same thing that Emma's probably thinking. The world is changing right now. Will I really be able to become queen? No. I will, along with Emma, will create a new world, and we see her getting her coronation. We see Musica's coronation, and like our new queen, long live the queen. So yeah, Musica's the queen now, and we cut back to the farms themselves, where we see everyone just looking in shock. Okay, so that was news that was actually relayed to them, that the fact that Musica was not only alive, but now she's become the demon queen. And they're like, Musica was alive, but wait, she's the queen? Why? What's going on? And they're like, but that's good. The evil blood will be shed. It's going according to the original plan. The demons won't have to be annihilated. No, but not just that. The farms will be abolished. And everyone's like, the farms will no longer exist. As we see flashbacks from the beginning of the arc, like we see Chrome, we see Leslie, we see those flashbacks of people that have actually been sacrificed, and now now because they were sacrificed to the demon god, and now that's all over, their sacrifices weren't in vain. As we see them going, all children raised as food will be free, and we see just everyone just celebrating the fact that this is finally over for them. The horror, the nightmare that they've actually gone through for so long is finally over for them. And Dom goes on to say, we aren't children to be in anymore. No one's going to pursue us. We're free. That means, and then as we see a bell ringing, we cut to Phil as we see him and Emma reunite, and that's where the chapter ends, and we get the next chapter hits May the 10th. So yeah, the Promised Neverland has been on a long hiatus, but I feel like even though Emma and all the children now are actually free from what's actually going on, I feel like there's still going to be one more task. Lewis is going to call out Emma for a rematch, and that's probably going to be the last obstacle for her to actually overcome, whether or not Lewis is going to say, Emma, I want to have a rematch with you because I want to demonstrate how much I've changed, but I also want to test you to see if you're worthy of actually entering the human world. So I feel like that's going to be the final battle of the series. Lewis versus Emma, the final rematch, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be just as epic as the one in Goldie Pond, but we'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, guys, that's it for those chapters. What did you think of them? Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz, and be sure to check out when I do Anime Burrito videos. I'll post the links to the Anime Burrito website, Anime Burrito Twitter, YouTube in the description below. Be sure to check out when I do them, and be sure to check out the stuff that I've been taking part in Kontrolled Khaos, which will hopefully, fingers crossed, tonight, or at some point, I don't know when, going to be watching anime with the guys. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, you guys will be there for them as well, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, like I said, I've not been away. I've been doing other videos on the side, which I've been loving, even more so than actually doing these reviews sometimes. So yeah, that's something I've been looking forward to. So look out for more tier list videos in the future. And this will be Lash Luke signing off. Later, guys.